Yeah.
Yeah, so I went to Angelo's retreat this December, made it 4 out of 5 days, and then just quit and was like, no, I'm not going to do this. This is just way too much effort. This isn't pleasant. I don't enjoy any of this. I just had pain in my back, really straining headaches from efforting, from meditating. I'm just not used to doing that much meditation and such long periods. And so right after that, the motivation for I don't know, this, I guess, just dropped out. I didn't want to look at any more videos of Angelo's or anyone else. I didn't want to read anything. And after a while, I noticed that motivations for pretty much everything had dropped away. Stuff was still happening, and stuff still is happening. I still go to work. I still work out, cook dinner, all that stuff, but there's just nothing driving it. So yeah, confusion. I don't know what's happening, but I'm just going along with it. It's really weird.
So when you said there's nothing driving it, but it's still happening, that got my interest. That sounds like a good place to be, but you're not experiencing it as a good place?
Yeah, it's I don't. It's not a bad place. So it's not a happy, laughing place, and it's not a good place. It's or a bad place. I mean, so yeah, I guess it's kind of peaceful. It's just weird not having that. I'm so used to having something driving, like a goal of some sort, or something pushing me, or me pulling towards something. But now it's just, okay, let's go along with it, see what happens. It's just unusual.
Yeah. Is there a story there that there's something wrong with this?
I think there was some worry in the beginning about what's happened. I've lost something. Now I'm just realizing it's unusual compared to my earlier life, and it's okay. It's like this now. Let's go on.
I've thought about this in the past, and what comes to mind is that what will happen is that you will develop a trust that life can manage itself, so to speak, that you don't need to be in the driving seat paying attention all the time. But that trust is where relaxation and allowing it to happen will come from as it gets developed. And the trust is like, again, a trust is nothing. It's an absence of mistrust. So once you start to realize that everything works out okay, and that you develop that trust, and that's just a concept, you develop that, you can relax, you can just let it all happen, and that's good. Yeah, I love that. I mean, for me, that's that's why it's called liberation. Well, one of the reasons for calling it liberation. It's we can just go with the flow. That sounds cliche, I know, but yeah, it happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The newness of it is always interesting.
It is. And always involuntarily. I just listened to a talk with Adyashanti today from one of his books that stood out. He said, awakening is like falling asleep. You don't make yourself fall asleep, because if you do, you're not going to fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly.
It just happens.
Yeah. There's a message there for a few of you guys. Yeah.
And
So
Timo, there's another extension to that in another little clip of his where he says, if you ask people how they fall asleep, they say, I don't know, as you say, you know, I just fall asleep. But you ask people who can't fall asleep, they'll give you 37 strategies to fall asleep and none of them work.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one. I love that. Yeah. How are you traveling, Yvonne?
Oh, hello. Yeah, I don't know really. I had after last week, I felt really quite dreadful for 2 days. I just felt terrible inside, and I think I was disappointed at myself. Well, I mean, you know, there was I did a lot of selfing, and I think I didn't need to justify myself when I was. Was it Adrian who said you're not? He felt I wasn't real, and while you were all sort of saying, you know, reverse it and, you know, working on him, I thought about it, and then I thought, oh, it doesn't matter. If I'm not real, that's as real. I'm real, whether I'm not real or whether I'm whatever. I'm here. That's all I can say. But I then found a reason. I felt the need, as you said, I started to self a bit, do a bit of selfing, and I started to justify my realness. And to do that, I found for some reason, I had to give some bit of my edgy life to prove I was real, which is quite ridiculous because it doesn't prove anything. And then I felt bad because I brought into it one of my sons, I think, or something. And I thought, oh, well, why do I have to bring him into it as well? You know, that's ridiculous. Yeah, so it was quite interesting, really.
Did you go back and watch that bit of the video again?
Yeah, twice. Yeah, I did.
And did your response change as you watched it a couple of times?
I'm trying to find you on the screen here.
Swipe right, left.
I found you. Yes. Say that again. Sorry. Did I?
Yeah. So
did I find?
Did things change as you watched it?
Yeah, slowly. The selfing part of me felt disappointed that I felt the need to justify, and how ridiculous that was. But before I did start to justify, there was just this neutral being here that didn't have to do anything.
So did it occur to you to appreciate the gift that he was offering you with that?
Oh, yeah. Because as I think I said about 2 weeks before, I was looking at myself as replayed, and I was thinking, I don't know that I'm being completely real. And then I gave it some deep thought because when I was a child, I was living in Lancashire, and my parents were worried I was going to pick up a Lancashire accent. And so they sent me to elocution lessons so I wouldn't have a Lancashire accent. And so, you know, so I wouldn't say things like Luke and book and bath and car. I would say car and bath and look and book. And this was really drummed into me. I won certificates for, you know, my elocution lessons. And I was thinking, well, yeah, that's interesting because there's a little bit of something going on here, because there's a part of me, I don't know what I would have sounded like had I not gone to elocution lessons. And I don't know if that's got something to do with it. It took me back there. But, you know, even whether I'm not real or whatever I am, I'm real. I mean, I'm not defending myself. I'm just saying.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. It's a weird concept, isn't it? Real, being real.
Yeah, it is a weird concept. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I did feel, but I did notice there was almost like sort of in this defense, this needing to defend myself. There was obviously something down in there that was hurt, or I wouldn't have had to feel the need to defend myself, or spend 2 days feeling bad about it. But it's, you know, it's okay.
So one of the things I just got from your story then was that your parents, they were snobs. One way to put it, you know, I'm being intentionally provocative here, that but they were very concerned with appearances. And that rubs off. That rubs off on a young child big time.
Yes. And I have always been concerned with appearances. And I am still, you know, I go outside, but I can't just go out, get dressed and go outside. I look in the mirror. As soon as I look in the mirror, even though I'm 75, I sort of think, oh, I'll put some lipstick on. Oh, my hair. And have I got the right look? You know, I still do it. And that's appearances. I've got, you know, to be identified. So there's stuff going on still, but I'm kind of aware of it. Yeah, so that real, is this real? What is real? Yeah, it's quite interesting. I mean, yeah.
So I love that one.
That's
quite interesting. Yeah. Curiosity about it, interest in it.
Yeah.
Discovery.
Yeah, I prefer the word curiosity than interest. Yeah. Yeah. It's
and it's just brilliant that they were I don't remember the incident actually, but it was brilliant that you were given this opportunity to feel hurt, to look at that selfing, that defense attitude, you know. I have a concept, that a story here that says that the self is body armor. It's always about defense. Every bit of selfing is about defense, survival. Yeah.
And it also took me to although I felt a lot of love from my father, it took me to a point where he realized I wasn't the intellectual that he wanted me to be, because that's what he wanted to be. And I didn't become what he was lacking in himself. He wanted me to become, and I didn't. I wasn't anything like he expected, and so I felt the lack of
something.
The lack.
Yeah.
And then therefore obviously spending a lot of many years having to prove myself, and I have spent a lot of years feeling the need to prove myself. And then also getting married to a very posh going into a very posh family, and then being tested if I was up to their standards, and then trying to be up to their standards.
They were even bigger snobs.
Yeah, they were. And and it took many years to actually realize what's going on, but it still operates.
Yeah, of course it does, and then they will never not operate. That, I mean,
Yeah.
they can diminish and they can change, but you know, that's part of the conditioning that you've got to live with. But
Yeah,
but liberation means that you're not in the cage anymore. You
yeah,
can
yeah,
recognize that stuff happening, and then it's almost, and this is a bit weird to say, it's almost like you've got a choice to comply or not. Right? It's not an actual choice, but it feels like
yeah,
it. You know, you don't have to be.
Yeah.
You don't, right? So at this stage, a great experiment would be for you to not look in the mirror and put lipstick
Yeah.
on when you go out. To just see what it
Yeah.
feels like.
yeah.
Yeah, you look fine to me, and I don't think you got any lipstick on now, have you?
No.
Well, you look okay. Yeah.
Thank you. I also I spent 2 years becoming seriously anorexic when I was a teenager. So another thing, you know, trying to become
Yes.
something.
Having to
So
fit in
it's
some mold. Yeah.
yeah. So
Well, it sounds to me
yeah.
like you're traveling well. Yeah, you've got that curiosity happening. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. You sort of went out of it there. You're still talking to me. Yeah.
I was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been waiting. I've been waiting months and months and months to get my internet fixed, and so I'm on a shitty 4G backup modem at the moment. So yeah, lucky it even works like this. Yeah.
I don't know what G I'm on.
Yeah.
Yvonne, I'm going to ramp it up a bit. To me, you don't look like 75.
To me, to you, I don't say that again.
To me, you
Sorry?
don't look like. To me, you don't look like 75.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Oh, I do try, you know, not to.
Yeah, but forget the trying. Forget it. Come next week. Come next week with your hair all undone. All right, just get out of bed and.
Yeah, I did. Actually, I smartened myself up this time. I thought, I normally have my hair all, but I think, oh God, you can't wear your hair like this at 75. So I'm gonna look more real, and I'm gonna take my hair back and be more real.
Yeah.
I mean, that did run through that thought. I have to admit it.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the problem is that I'm a teenager inside, but you know, it's just old on the outside.
Yeah.
Let the teenager have some fun.
What?
Let the teenager have some fun.
Indeed, absolutely, and I'm constantly putting music on and dancing, mostly with myself in the kitchen. But yeah,
Great. Yeah.
yeah.
Yvonne, something you said a little bit ago is I'd never thought this before, and it's blowing my mind, and I'm curious about yours and anybody else's thoughts about it. How can you not be fully authentic regardless of how you're showing up? Because anything that you were doing or expressing is authentic to some part of yourself and selfing.
Yeah.
And if you've got another part that is not being expressed in that moment, then gosh, I'm having even a hard time articulating this, but it's like any sort of communicating, expressing is fully authentic to at least some part of your illusory self.
Yeah.
So how can you not how can you not be authentic in any given moment? Somebody told me.
Yeah, I get you.
I don't know, but sometimes I have caught myself in conversation, and I haven't come from a deeper place. It's been a little bit more surface. So, yeah, but so even the surface is part of the authentic, because it's a sort of a protection or something. So, yeah, you can't not be authentic.
Yeah, part of it's
Yeah.
a word thing, you know. So we say, you know, like it's reasonable to say, if you're being unreal, that's still real. But
Yeah.
I would have to go back and watch the video, and I'm not going to see. But I rather imagine that when somebody said you were being unreal, they didn't actually mean you were being unreal. What they meant was that there was some pretense or some
Yes.
what inauthentic's not quite the right word, but something going on. They were pointing out
Pretense. I think
Yes,
pretense
yeah,
rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some pretense, and I think
and we can pretend like, yeah. I wish Matthias was here. He was a classic example when we went through that stuff. Yep. We can. It's layers and layers, and it's way too convoluted and complex to really analyze. But we can be real in our pretense, and what we're doing is we're avoiding something, or we're diverging from something, you know, that kind of thing, you know. So I'm rather imagining that was what the gift was that was being offered to you, was something along those lines, for you to simply look and see whether or not you were coming from a deeper place or a more superficial place. That's my guess anyway. I don't know.
no, yeah, I don't think I was coming from a more superficial place, but what I do notice when I replay these things, this person here is very dramatic in her expression, and I sort of, what's going on there? But you know, the character, which is, the character has been developed, but it's not just the character, is it? I don't know, because when I had this experience when I was in the middle of a fight with a partner, and then whoosh, I came back to this neutral watcher, which is looking out. That watcher didn't seem to have any character whatsoever. So maybe character is just all developed as I don't know. We must be born with some kind of character. Because when I look back, I just see myself being very expressive, which is what I am anyway. So, oh dear.
Yeah, and it might be hard because of your conditioning to accept that you don't need to justify how you are. How you are is how you are. Yeah.
Exactly. But I have spent a lot of my life justifying, because of the fact that I come out sometimes quite loud, not loudly, but in a strong, expressive way.
Yeah.
And I've had sort of partners who said, dial it down.
Yes.
Dial it
Yep.
down.
Yep. Yeah, I've experienced that myself. I'm a bit melodramatic about things and so on. But these days, if somebody says tone it down, I say, "What? You want me to be different? I don't think I can do that."
Yeah. Now, as I'm speaking, I feel very like I'm selfing, or feeling slightly guilty that I'm talking an awful lot about myself.
I love the expressions there. Yeah. Well,
Yvonne, I just have a question, right from the beginning of your conversation, of feeling you were feeling defensive afterwards for a couple of days, and so obviously suffering a little bit. Were you able to go into that defensiveness and see what it was leading? Was there a like a statement or something that wanted to have its say, that was being defended underneath the defending, or what were you defending? Were you able to get to that?
I just felt dreadful, and I was investigating this dreadful feeling, and I think I just felt disappointment in this self having to bring up an edgy part of my life and bring one of my sons into it. And I felt bad because I was thinking, God, if he ever saw this, and God, I felt fear, actually. I felt fear of saying too much. And then it felt very like, this is what I've always done, and this fear is so familiar. Yeah, so it did take me into some stuff.
Like, I'm too much.
Yeah, I'm too much.
In a way, because you already mentioned that people, boyfriends and people were telling you to tone down. So you're not acceptable to be yourself. You've got to tone yourself down. And
exactly, yes. I mean, even bringing my sons into it again. I've got one son and we are both dialed up. We're like expressive and we're so alike. But the other two are, that one of them especially wouldn't go onto the dance floor and, do their thing, do their dance. And like this other son and myself, we would just do it. And so I was being criticized a lot for I don't know, taking center stage.
Yeah.
Yvonne, while you're here, please dial it up.
Yeah. Well,
and see how that works for you. You've got the forum. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, now I shall feel shy. I can't find you on here, but yeah, thank you. I've actually said nothing for a long time because I've been dialing it down. I mean, just listening and thinking, I don't need to say anything. And then I was thinking, then I had this thought, I hope Vince asks me where I'm at. And then you went to so many different people and he's not going to ask me. And then you did. And then I thought, oh shit. I better explain myself. Anyway, whatever. As they say in London, whatever. They didn't teach me to speak like that in elocution lessons. Whatever.
Yeah. I do try and get through everybody, unless I know they don't want to talk. If they're only presenting their name, I don't ask them usually. And some people just don't want to talk, I know, so I'll leave them alone. But otherwise, I'm happy to pick on everybody.
Yeah. No, I do love to talk, yeah.
Okay.
So thank you.
You're welcome. It's Don's turn now.
Oh my God.
I love that.
Yeah, thanks. I wasn't sure what I was going to say. This has really cheered me up though, because I was feeling miserable at the beginning. I was going to say, one of the things you were all talking about was about making an effort. I still haven't come around to that. I still feel like an effort is necessary until it isn't, or something. Or like resisting the resistance. It always feels like there's so much resistance. It has to be resisted because otherwise I just want to say, hopefully this won't be too long. I was listening to I know, right? I was listening to the last 2 chapters of Angelo's book for the 20th time in the car the other day, and he said something I've heard 100 times, something like, people say to him, they're listening, watching for the next thought, and then they say, but then it gets to this place, and then that's where I get stuck. And he says something like, that's just a thought. And I'm always like, no, but this is so like, this is proper identification. This is proper confusion. This is like, I can't see through. This is impossible. And then I just thought, I'm just going to decide that Angelo was right, that this is just a thought. This confusion, this identification, this feeling of I'm doing this wrong is just, I'm going to apply that definition. I'm going to say, this is a thought. And I'm making it, and I did that vigorously to go with this intense feeling of confusion and I'm getting this wrong, and I just decided it was, and it turned out to be a thought, and it was okay, and I was able to stand outside, go, oh yeah, that's a thought. But and I can do that, but it takes a lot of effort. I have to really try really hard. I have to sit for a long time to see through that confusion, that feeling of identification. And I feel I have to really drag myself to that place for the whole day and sit for a long time. And I can get sitting, and it seems like there's a doer involved. So that must be the wrong thing, mustn't it? There's a doer doing all of this. But when I get to this place, I can see it, and I can somehow see this confusion as a thought, and I can see that identification, and I can stand back from it and go, oh yeah, all of this feeling of me and these thoughts and this whole thing is just an object or something, and there's some kind of space of awareness around that, and I can watch it for a while, and I go, okay, I feel better now, I feel relaxed now, there's space, and I can kind of sustain that by attention for a good period of time, and it feels proper. It doesn't feel like I'm really trying, I don't know. And yet, yeah, and then if I don't make an effort, it just comes, the identification comes back, the confusion comes back, and that's how I feel now. I feel identified and confused now. If I don't make an effort to get outside it and see it as thoughts, like the not making an effort thing has never made sense to me yet so far. I have to make an effort to get out of this confusion, or it'll go on forever. That's how it still seems. So that's where I'm at as of now.
Nicely said. Nicely said.
Yeah, that's very much how I feel too, that I didn't express nearly as eloquently as you.
I mean, when I'm in the, just continue, if I'm in the, whatever that place is, I mean, sometimes a few of you have said, and I go, okay, there's no effort to be made. Everything is just fine. And every now and then there's a kind of a pointer like that, and there's just a glimpse of that. And I go, yep, everything is just fine. And it stays for a little while until the thing comes back and starts talking to me. And I'm like, ugh. And then I have to remember my way back out of that confusion again. And I have to find a pointer from somewhere. It can take me the whole day of watching videos to find something slightly inspiring to remind me, and I go, oh yeah. And then I can watch a video of Angelo's, and I can sit for ages looking at thoughts, and I go, okay, I can stay in some kind of a place of awareness or something.
Okay, Don, it seems to me you're missing a really critical point, right?
Okay.
You seem to, it'll appear to you like you're having a realization that you're in confusion, and you're making a decision to remember to do something and apply that effort, right? And then you get lost in applying that effort, and eventually you'll get some kind of success from doing that. Right. The moment that you realize that you're lost in confusion is that critical moment that I'm talking about. right? You're passing over that moment. You're immediately going from the confusion to realizing the confusion into doing something about it, right? That you're just going so fast past that moment of realizing that you were lost in confusion. That realization, that recognition that that's what was happening is itself a critical moment, a really, really important critical moment. And that's the point where you laugh. You fake it if you have to, but you laugh that you've realized, that you've recognized that you were lost. Forget about the rest. If you want to go on and do efforting, well, go on and do efforting. That's a waste of time, but go and do it, right? Even though it eventually, you keep telling yourself that will eventually get you out of that point. That simple recognition that you realize you were in confusion and that it's time to do something. That's the moment to celebrate. That's the pivotal point of change right there. And you're going past it so fast that it's not getting the recognition that it deserves.
It's what am I saying? When you tell me that, it sounds like it makes sense, right? But and yet when you tell me that, I'm just being honest with to say it straight. Like when I recognize that I'm whatever, distracted, confused or something, the place I get to is not woohoo, I've seen where I'm at. The place I get to is furious self-criticism. I fucked up again. I'm so I'm really angry, really fucking angry. I have fucked this up again. I'm so wrong. I'm so bad. I'm just so confused. It's just total fury and self-descriptive. What's that word? Whatever that word is. I'm furious. It just gets so the recognition gets me into this place of whatever that word is. Really furious, and I'm just and I have to get myself out of that because it's just awful. I feel identified as the failure again now. I'm in that feeling of I failed again. I'm just telling you, I really want to get myself out of this feeling of I'm identified as the person who fucked up again. And smiling, it just doesn't fucking cut it, Vince. I want to get out of this.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. So fake it, but okay. Then there's a second realization that comes along that says, I'm now feeling furious about it.
Yeah.
That's a double one. That's a second one, a second opportunity for you to recognize that you're lost again. So you're lost in confusion or whatever. And then there's a moment when you realize that, and that moment then triggers the next moment, which is with the anger. Right?
Yeah.
And then there'll be a moment when you realize that you're feeling angry and furious about it all. That's another opportunity. I know you say it doesn't cut it, but it doesn't cut it if you think that that's going to fix things. That's not the point of it. It's not going to fix things. It's not going to stop the anger from coming. It's not going to stop the confusion from happening next time. What it is it's going to train you. It's going to establish a trigger point of recognizing, and that in itself is like a seed that we've planted that will grow. But you don't worry about what it'll grow into at this stage. Just if you want the tree to be there, you've got to put the seed in the ground, and if you're going to put the seed in the ground, you've got to prepare the ground, and that's all what we're doing at this stage. We're not worried about the tree. We're just preparing the ground and putting the seed in.
And Don, when Vince talks about an opportunity, you talk about dropping into that anger, that fury, and you say, I don't want that. I got to get out of here. Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah, because I'm so sick to death of it. It's like I feel like I've identified with that all my life. With this self-criticism, it's just my whole life is criticizing myself. Part of it, you know.
So you know, the very thing you're trying to get away from here is the very doorway to what you're looking for.
I knew you were going to say something like that.
Did you? Well, there you go. You knew it. You know it. There's something telling you that this is the doorway. And we can go there now if you wanted to, but it's being willing to dive into this sense, or as Vince was talking about earlier, this welcoming, this gratitude, this opening, just being willing to be open to that totally, and let that take you where it will. That's the invitation right here.
Okie dokie. Let's see where it goes. I'm sorry. I really feel, what do I feel? What was Yvonne saying about being too expressive? I feel like I could be so fucking angry now any second. I have to turn the whole computer off. It just.
Okay, beautiful. What is that? What's the raw sensation? Describe that as best you can. The raw sensation.
Ugh. The whole body is agitated. I just want to fucking break everything. I want to burn the house down.
Yeah, that's a story. That's a story.
Yeah.
What does it feel like? Is it hot? Is it hard?
Yeah.
Is it prickly? Is it raw? How would you describe it?
I don't know. Hot and energetic and
hot. Yep.
How do I describe sensations? Energetic. I feel like shouting. I feel like moving.
Where's that arising from? Where's that arising from?
Ugh. My body, from my torso, from my throat, from my. Yeah.
Just open completely to it. What is this? This curiosity. Just feel into this as though you've never felt into it before, and it's someone that you want to greet.
Sorry, what? What do I want to do again?
It's like greeting it. This is someone who you haven't met, and you're saying hello, and you really want to get to know them. What does it feel like? What are you feeling? Raw sensation.
There's confusion spinning around, anger and.
Okay, that's thoughts again. That's thoughts. Feeling. You talked about it being hot. What is hot?
Yeah.
Is it hot? Is that hotness still there?
Yeah.
Yep. Let it get really hot then.
Okay.
Or it may change. It may change, but that raw sensation.
My friend had a.
Like when you get a prick in the finger, you know it's sharp. You know, what is this anger? What is this anger?
Oh gosh, I just feel this energy or the desire to shout or something, and
shout. You're allowed to shout.
Shout, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know what to shout though.
Well, scream, whatever comes. Just let it be. Don't hold it in. It wants to express itself.
I mean, to be honest, I'll be honest, right? I mean, I'm not great at doing this kind of spontaneous stuff at the best of times, but I'm not going to do this on YouTube, right? I'm not going to fucking shout however spontaneous I sound already.
John, if you want, I'll pause the recording. If you want to let it out, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, okay. Well, you do that, and I may or may not be spontaneous after that, but I'm definitely not gonna,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If people want to, if you want to reach out, we can do that too. If it really becomes tough, Don. So we'll just leave it there. But now you've opened a door. This is the golden key, and you don't have to do anything. It's just when you feel the sensations arising, just be open to them. That's all.
Yeah,
that's all.
It sounds very easy when you say it. I don't know what it seems weird. I don't know what to. Anyway, thank you. Yeah, I'll keep.
It does. It is very simple. It does sound easy, but we all know that it's very challenging at times. And that's part of the territory. I mean, Lisa Jane knows about this, how tough this can be. And I'm not discounting anybody else here on the call because we all go through different levels of it. But this is excruciating sometimes. Do you just want to talk to that, Lisa Jane?
Well, it was like I said earlier, the pain, facing the pain was so bad that I thought that death would be better, that I would rather, and I've been fighting to live for years, like fighting hard to live. And all of a sudden, when that pain was in front of me, it's terror. What I was feeling was terror. But then once I went into it, you know, it's all kind of blurry, but it didn't just happen like right in the moment. It took days. And there were like, I would get these realizations for days afterwards that would try to, I'm really struggling with the words to describe everything that happened because it's all so jumbled.
Yeah.
But what you were doing, like I could feel you in the beginning. I could really feel you. I could feel the stickiness and how you just wanted to escape it and you were trying so hard to stay with it. And I know that feeling. It's so raw in me still that I kind of had to back out of it a little bit. But just keep doing it because it's going to keep coming up. And just stay with it. And that terror that comes up, like my thoughts were telling me that this is going to kill me, or it's better to be dead than to feel this. Just don't go to this place. You can't go there. But I think you're kind of like me. You're at the point where you don't have a choice. And so just feel it, because I can't begin to explain anything that's happening to me right now. I am so clueless, but it's better. And it's just way better.
Don, I imagine that you've got stories running there about how you just wasted an opportunity, that you didn't go deep enough, or you didn't let it out enough, or something didn't work properly, or something like that. Is that accurate? Have you?
Strangely not, but maybe later on I'll get around to that. Criticizing myself.
So, no, all right,
I
well,
haven't started yet though,
yeah,
which
that's
is
great
great.
if you haven't. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Vince is just giving you a glimpse to the next chapter.
Yeah. Thanks.
That's good. Yeah.
I don't know. Thanks. I know. I don't know what that even, that whole feeling of sensations thing is a mystery to me, but it's funny. But for the moment, as far as what you were saying, Lisa Jane, for the moment, I'm just, I feel like my thoughts are the scariest things. I can create the most ridiculous stories with thoughts. Sensations haven't been that scary so far, but maybe they'll turn out to be. But so far, they're not as scary as my thoughts so far.
Oh yeah, my thoughts were all wound up in all of that, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Once you get into the sensations, you one of the things you will realize is that it's never as bad as you thought it was going to be. You know, your thoughts can produce horror stories that are absolutely extreme. Yeah. No.
One of the stories that Lisa Jane's got is she's got stage 4 cancer and liver failure. You know, this is a story that's going to, you know, that comes in that I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Don, you've mentioned often how you seem to catch yourself when you are thinking or confused. It's so you seem to be aware of when you're in your head. How often are you aware of sensation? Not like necessarily diving into it like Alan just did with you, but just like a momentary, oh, I feel a sensation.
Not so much. I guess more recently I try to be a bit more, but not as, a little bit more. I guess since I've been watching this group here, I try to be a bit more aware of it. But I don't know how often during the day, maybe not very often. I'm more aware of my thoughts or what my head is doing, I think, yeah.
I think what Vince was saying earlier with someone else is not to worry necessarily about how often it happens, but when it happens and you know that you are aware of a sensation. Thank it for giving you a reminder that, oh, I now have something that I can spend, even if it's 10 seconds, 30 seconds, feel into it, spend a little time, and you might find that will start occurring more often.
Yeah.
Giving you more
Actually,
of an
now
opportunity.
now that you just asked me that and I answered in that way, now it suddenly occurs to me that in the last few weeks I've been aware of sensations quite a lot, and well, I call it fear, but that's not a sensation, is it? But you know, and then trying to spend a lot of time with how I'm feeling, and there's a lot of fear, a lot of stuff, and nausea and dizziness and whatnot in the last few weeks, and I've found it quite hard. I mean, like I say, I found it quite hard to stay with it, but I've no choice because it's there all the time, and I don't know what to do, feeling dizzy and nauseous and afraid all day long. But that's what I've been trying to do, sit with it and go, what do I do now? I'm feeling terrible, and I feel terrible all day, and I have no choice to stay with it for 10 seconds. It's there all the time. And whether
Look,
it's because I'm interpreting it with thoughts, I don't know, but
there's another aspect too, and Jeremy, that was a really good question. Can you feel sensation? So often in the conversations like this and doing what we're doing, we classify sensations as being bad, but you know, sensation is continually in the body, and that if you feel into the body when you're feeling good, just feel that aliveness that is there all the time, but we totally ignore it. You know, there's an aliveness that is so sweet, that is so well alive. It's so subtle that we don't notice it, but it's a very livingness within us. And feeling and acknowledging that too is an incredibly powerful doorway.
And the thought arises here, Don, that when you say it lasts all day, I'm imagining that the reason it lasts all day is because you spend all day trying to get rid of it. The moment you accept it and don't try and get rid of it, it'll probably start changing.
yeah, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
Try it.
I don't know.
Have an
So
experiment.
maybe.
Try it out. So go, instead of saying, I want you to go away, say, well, come on, stay if you like, and see what happens.
Okay.
I started doing this thing where I would do what Vince said, you know, I would catch myself with the laugh. And then I would do what Alan had suggested, which, and then immediately go into my body to try to feel what I was feeling right then. And it really works.
Okay.
And, you know, if I can get to, and the feelings sometimes, you know, if I can catch it, and if I can go right in my body, and those feelings are so big, but then they'll just kind of like dissipate like mist, if I can stay with it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see
And
what I guess possibly the intolerability or whatever that word of it is, possibly that there's a lot of thoughts going on, stories and feelings and
Yeah.
stories. Just feeling the sensations would be easy if I could just do that, I think. But during the day, it's a lot of stories, a lot of. Yeah, no, I did. No, that I did. Usually with somebody's help, I can, you know, but on my own, it's harder to keep away from the stories possibly. But yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Those things for you, Bianca.
I don't know. I wanted to say something about don't things, but it may be something very stupid, and I have you know, I have no idea about all this, and it's just just what I think.
You're allowed to
what
say
I
stupid stuff. You're allowed to say stupid stuff. That's fine.
That well when watched you, it was fascinating how your body moved, how it was moving.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Like I thought that your body really knows what to do.
Yeah.
And that it's beautiful how you let your body do whatever it needs.
You hearing that, Don?
Yep, I am. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I'll just say, yeah, I am.
Don't
Thank
have
you.
to respond. Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
If I was an artist, it would have been a brilliant sculpture, you know. Writhing was the word that came to mind here. And it would
Yeah.
in marble, that would just be so beautiful. I would love it. Yeah. Yeah.
Why did it take me back to when you were a child and with your mother? I mean, why does I keep doing this with people? But I felt such deep sadness without history, just deep sadness as I was, and compassion for you, watching your body writhe. And then I don't know, it just took me back to perhaps when you were a boy with your mother. I don't know what your relationship was like with her. And if I can ask that, is that all right?
Yeah. I don't know what, I can't relate this, whatever I was happening there was doing to that exactly. But there's what was I saying? It may be unrelated. I don't know. One of the feelings I've had recently, as it were, fears, I guess, is some kind of a fear of abandonment or not ever being connected with anyone. And maybe that's not the same thing as what I was feeling now, but just a feeling of, yeah, I don't know, maybe it's not the same, but a feeling of never being connected with anyone or never being safe. And there's some of that feeling in my system a lot in the last few weeks of just like a child who is sitting alone at the age of 1 or something, and just alone forever and never will be connected with anyone. And that's that feeling of, I don't know if that's related to the feeling I had now, the sensations I had now, but, and I'm just rambling now. I don't want to, but yeah, I suppose actually I'll just ramble a little bit more. There's a little bit of anger, I suppose, about my parents, I guess, you know, and yeah, but I guess even my mother, like that, I felt I wasn't really taken care of or supported or whatever enough, or very much. I just keep rambling for a sec. I've had this realization over the years. When I remember, well, a good few years ago, decades ago, probably, I thought, when I thought of the phrase "I love you," I thought, I don't know what that means. And my parents said that to me all my life. And now I realize in my teens or my early 20s, that like, I don't know what that means. That doesn't mean anything to me. And my dad wanted me to be the way he wanted me. And my mother didn't stand up for me when my dad was angry. So I thought, that doesn't mean anything, that phrase. It means nothing. And I still feel like that. That phrase is empty. And it doesn't feel like it seems terrible, but I mean, it doesn't feel like I was actually loved because it didn't actually mean anything. And so maybe there's a certain amount of anger or resentment from my childhood around that whole vibe.
Yeah.
I think.
So would it be accurate to say that you now don't know what love is? I don't mean intimately. I mean, you don't experience loving?
I have a little bit recently. That's true. I have a little bit recently with people in recent life, but not very much. I don't feel very connected to people most of the time. Yeah, the odd person here and there, but not very much. It's very strange. Yeah, it doesn't, it feel, I do genuinely feel alone mostly. I don't feel connected. Even if I've got nice friends and stuff, it just feels, I feel quite isolated
Yep.
from most of humanity.
What about animals or nature?
Yeah, not really that either. Yeah, it's funny. It just still feels like a, talk about a separate self, I mean, it really does feel like there's just humanity and me, two separate things kind of thing. I just feel like there's no connection. It's a strange, and it's kind of so intellectually, I go, oh, there's lots of nice people in the world and people love me and I have friends and everyone's very nice. But at some feeling level, I don't feel connected.
But the love is not outside. It's the love that's deep within you, isn't it? That you need to connect with.
Yeah.
You've got nothing, that love that's deep within you. And it's sad that your parents couldn't show that because they had the same. I feel sad that they couldn't, I don't know, get it reflected back and forth between you, but it didn't happen. But it's surely the love that's deep within yourself that is where you need to look.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I suppose I sometimes get a glimpse of that.
That's just an idea for Don at the moment, though, isn't it? Is that right, Don? That's just an idea for you at the moment?
The love inside me is an idea.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, kind of.
I'm asking you, is that what it feels like to you? It's just an idea? Can you connect with something in there that you'd call love?
There's a very tiny, I get a very tiny glimpse every now and then of it.
All right, that's good. Yep.
Yeah, very
So
tiny.
it
like
exists. That glimpse tells you that it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, yeah.
What
every
about
now and then, tiny glimpse. Yeah.
What about something that needs and depends on you? Have you experienced that?
Not yet. No, not an animal or a child or anything. That freaks me out, that idea of anything depending on me. It sounds like a lot of responsibility.
Don, I just want to say what you talked there about not feeling that love from your parents, I can relate to completely. Total isolation. So I just want you to know that you're not a freak.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, well, more accurately, you're both freaks.
Well, yes, that's right. And I guess if we went,
too.
Yeah, we're all freaks.
I think exactly.
You're not really alone.
So that's
I love you.
right.
It's words. They're just words. My parents use them all the time, but if that was love, oh my God, I don't want any part of what I got from them, for the most part. But now there's like, because I've been so disconnected from my body, and I think you might be too, like I'm coming into this place where I'm starting to feel things, but I don't know what it is. And so then I scramble to try to identify it, and then I kind of mess it up even more, but like
it doesn't need to be identified,
Like this morning I got up and I'm not even sure why I'm bringing this up, but it's cold here. I'm in North Idaho and my feet hit the wood floor, and it was like I felt a wood floor with the bottom of my feet for the first time. And then I took a few steps and I stepped on a yoga mat. And then from the yoga mat, I went to like this soft carpeting, and then I went to the cold tile, and all this happened in just a few minutes. And I really wasn't thinking about it. I was just like this little kid, like with all these crazy sensations on the bottom of my feet. And I was like all excited about it. And then I tried the words came in and then it went away, but it was like, that's so cool. I just discovered like the floor. And because there's just been this disconnect for forever. And so I know what I think the floor feels like, but this morning I actually got to feel it.
Yeah.
And
Lisa,
that's how it is.
I just want to jump in, Lisa, and say that's what being awake is like. the
Yeah,
whole
that's-
world starts to be like that. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I can love it.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
Yeah, the other day I sizzled garlic in olive oil for the first time, and I was telling Alan about it because it was just magical. And I've sizzled garlic in olive oil 10,000 times, but it was the first time that I really saw it. And it was this stupid little thing that was just like
Wonder.
I was,
Lovely.
yeah.
Yeah, this is called waking up, Jeremy. I got to go back to what you said earlier about diets, and I wondered where you were going with it. But it was such a beautiful illustration to me, practically, of when we start to see something in its pristineness, it just makes what isn't pristine so much starker. Is a way of putting it, and that's what waking up's all about. It's realizing how things really are, rather than being lost in a fog of thought about them. That's all it is.
Yeah. And you realize as soon as you experience that, I mean, Lisa, there's no possible way you could communicate or describe what you were experiencing when your feet hit that floor and you just you almost became the wooden floor. It's like, how do you describe? You can't describe it. Words can't even.
No, and it was like, and I took 2 steps and it's different. And it's like, it's so silly, but it was
brilliant.
pretty cool.
How are you, Kathleen?
Unmute. Okay, there I am. I'm very good this week. In 2 weeks, I may not be so good.
Is that a self-fulfilling prophecy?
No. Just that's humor. Okay, I live in New Orleans. We have Mardi Gras coming up, and I live on the parade route, which means I have an open house and I have 1 million people coming to my house, which is wonderful and I love. And I turned 70, and so this is a big 2 weeks coming up. Okay, so we're going to backtrack that. That's wonderful. My Achilles heel, which I've always said is my son. And he called and said, "Oh, we want to come to the parade. Is that okay?" And I was like, "Of course, it's an open house." So anyway, so then I started fretting, story of the relationship and blah, 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 blah. And then I told a friend of mine, how I was stressing over this and all that. And she goes, "Kathleen," she goes, "can you just be okay with whatever happens? Can you just be okay with it?" Wow. Yes, I can be okay with it. So for the last 4 or 5 days, I haven't been fretting, and I'm just, whatever happens, happens. And I'm all the worrying and all the other stuff and all the, he's my Achilles heel and all the stories that I have about this son of mine, I've just dropped. So like I said, we'll see in a few weeks. I'll let you know if it really happened or not.
Right.
But
sounds good. Yeah.
But I think all this, all this unraveling is working for me. And Vince, I use the laughing all the time when I catch myself, being on this wheel of thinking, and then I'll just stop and go like, "Oh my God, like, where is that coming from?" And I just have to laugh, and then it dissipates. So even with what's coming up, and it's a big deal for me. It's my 70th birthday. I have buttons that say 70 is the new 50. I'll have 100 people at my house. Mardi Gras is a wonderful time. It's not what you see on TV. And I'm not going to let the thoughts and the ideas and the stories that I've made up about my son interrupt it. And hopefully we'll have just a wonderful time.
Right. Sounds good. Yeah.
More to be continued.
Yeah. And when all that stuff with your son is gone, you're in trouble, aren't you? What's left? You got nothing.
Oh, liberation.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
No, seriously. I mean, and because I'm in a really good spot, you know, and I'm trying to feel into the body, and yeah, that's really hard. I mean, it's like, oh, okay, go into the body. I don't feel anything in the body, but I'm working on it. I mean, working on it. I don't even want to say that, and I don't want to say I'm seeking, because I'm just trying to live, you know. So, and
You're muted again.
yeah, okay, someone called up. I just had to get rid of the phone. So anyway, I've always said, you know, I'm like 90% there and 10% is my son. And what a gift for him and his wife to come and spend 5 days. And it's during my birthday, and it's in front of all of my friends. And I've just had to look at it like, what a gift.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Brilliant.
hopefully,
I love it. Yeah, what a good
so
place to be.
yeah, I think I'm okay. And like I said, I'll let y'all know in a few weeks.
Yeah, great. Yeah, yeah. I wish I could be there.
Thank
It'd
you.
be lovely. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm thinking we're all done, eh? Anybody else want to come in with something?
All that's coming to my mind here, Vince, is whether I listen to Kathleen, how could anything call a self orchestrate such a glorious unfolding?
Yeah.
Just life.
Yeah. Ah, there's so many good stories here tonight, eh? Brilliant. All right, everybody. Let's see what happens for another week, and we'll keep going. Yay! Very good.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you, everybody.
Bye all.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Y'all make my week. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.